Welcome to another video. Well, a little bit of a cloudy, overcast day. So I think I'm going to head out to the beach, see if I can't get a minimalistic, kind of black and white shot at the beach. I don't know whether it's going to work or not, but we're going to try. So I'll update you once I get there. See you soon. Okay, well, I made it to the beach, and best laid plans sometimes don't happen. It was nice and overcast when I left the house. I got to the beach and it's blue skies. So what I'm going to try and do, instead of doing a minimalistic shot, I'm going to try and include these rocks with these waves coming up, and if I can find a composition that will have the pier down there in the background. I don't know if you can see it here on the camera, but maybe have these waves come up across these rocks along with the pier, and maybe do a long exposure and blend a couple images in to play with a little bit. The sky keeps opening up more and more, and it's not really what I want. But I'm going to get these waves like right there. It seems about every 7th or 8th wave really comes up and strikes these rocks. And I think that's what I'm going to go for. Try something like that. So let's see what we can get. As you might be able to see and hear, it's quite windy out here. So we had a little trouble with mission control. For the first time ever, my tripod took a dump into the ocean. Fell over as I was putting my camera together with the lens. I had it all set up and boop, fell right over. Luckily I had a few pieces of cloth I could wipe it off with pretty quick. Got a little wet. I'm gonna have to take it home and clean it up, get the salt water off of it. But you never know. First time it's ever fallen over on me. Rookie mistake. So then what I ended up doing was I put on a 6-stop and a 10-stop neutral density filter along with a polarizer, and I took several different shots, some without the polarizer and the neutral density filter. So I had shutter speeds of everywhere from about 1/800th of a second all the way to 10 to 15 seconds. And what I'm hoping to do is blend 2 or 3 of those images together excuse me, where I can get the wave cracking above the rocks like you might see here in a second. Then also, like right there, then also 1 or 2 smoothing out the water just a little bit, and also smoothing out those clouds if possible. That's why I wanted more of an overcast than the way the skies opened up the minute I got here. Always the way, huh? So that's what I did. I probably shot off 200 images. Got a few like that. And what I might do, there's a good one. What I might do is try and find an abstract in the water. The waves coming in and out. Try to find one rock maybe to anchor the photo. There's one over there that has some nice oranges and greens in it, but it's pretty close to the water and it's close to some other rocks, so I don't know. We're gonna try it. All right, I'll get back to you, see what else we can come up with. As you can see, I'm back in my office now at my computer, and what I want to try and do is blend 3 different photos. The first one here I'm going to use as my base was the long exposure. I think this was around 15 seconds. And because I like this right in here, then the second one I'm going to blend in is for the wave pop in here, and then this wave back here. And the third is going to be for these three pelicans and maybe this boat, depending on how it lines up. Typically, the way you would want to do this would be to select them all and go up here and hit Edit, Auto Align Layers. The problem that I found, I did try it once and before I started recording this, and the problem that I had was it wasn't aligning perfectly with the rocks, and the waves just they didn't look right. So if I manually do it, we're going to try and do it that way. So what you have to do is you create a layer mask for both layers, create a layer mask, and then you invert it. Control I so that they're black. So after you convert it, you want to paint with a white paintbrush inside your layer mask, and here I just start to paint in. So you pick whatever brush you want. You don't want it too big, and make sure your opacity is 100%. You can change your flow rate to what you think is appropriate, but you can just then start to paint in what you want. I think I want that wave that was back there. Just a little bit more of that. Make it look a little bit more natural along the coastline. Okay. Now, if you like this little section here, I don't like that. So all you do is you just reverse, and then you can erase it, right? And bring back your bottom layer. Now I can already tell this isn't going to be a portfolio shot. It's just when I got to the beach and everything changed on me and the weather changed and I had to change what it is I was going to try to accomplish. Well, you just go out and you enjoy yourself and spend a little time at the beach, and then you practice. You know, you practice what shutter speeds you think are best, and then you can come back and do something like this. Practice your techniques and practice your post-processing. Okay, so now we want to bring in the birds, which should be, oops. There's the birds. Okay. And the boat. There's the boat. I don't know if I'm going to leave the boat in there or not, maybe. Okay, so we'll reverse it again, and let's get rid of all this. The boat is so small, I don't know if it really adds anything to it or not. Same with the birds, they're kind of small, but I think they add a little bit of a touch. I'm not too concerned about everything being perfect because it's the type of shot that it is. I'm going to add a little extra to it. Just in case anybody, oops. Just in case anybody is interested or cares to know, it was shot with a Nikon. This image was shot with a Nikon Z7 II and a 24-120 f4S lens, the new one. It's a nice lens. I like it. Typically, I would have shot with the 20mm lens, but I was pretty far back from the pier this time, so again, this isn't going to have to be perfect. And you'll, okay, let's shrink it down and see what we've got. There we go. Before you do too much more, so that you can get back to this. Once it's saved, maybe flatten it. And then the other thing you should probably do is straighten the horizon a little bit. Another rookie mistake. I didn't have the horizon level when I got in a little kind of panic mode after my tripod took a dump and didn't get everything all set back up perfectly the way I had it before. I just didn't have it secured deep enough into the sand. I thought I did, but it was a huge gust of wind came along and just bloop, knocked it right over into the wave. So we can take the grid off, and then typically people say, well, you want 2/3 foreground and 1/3 sky, or vice versa. I don't know. I guess you can try and get it pretty close to that. I don't always do that, but see, in this particular image, it's going to be a little hard to do that if I want to keep a 16:9 ratio. We're going to leave that boat there just for a little bit of balance on the right side of the image. All right, that should be pretty good. So now the other thing I want to do is, because like I said, this is an okay shot. I mean, it's all right. It's not portfolio. So what you can do to make it look a little different is go back into Adobe Camera Raw and reduce your texture, reduce your clarity, dehaze, just add a little bit. So you keep messing with these settings. And then the other thing you can do is go up here, select your sky, and play with that a little bit. See what you like. Don't want to overdo it. The other thing we can do is maybe add a little clarity back to it, maybe. And then one more brush or one more mask down here. And then just along the edge a little bit. Okay. Let's flatten that down. And usually I let it try and auto tone and everything just in case. See, it's all pretty good. I don't know that I want it messing with the colors too much. Now, the other thing I could do, you can do if you take more time, if you go back into Adobe Camera Raw, is over in here in this part of the sky, is maybe draw out a little bit more colors out of that. You could probably get maybe a little bit more pinks and so the last thing we want to do, second to the last thing we want to do, is duplicate the layer, then go into filter. Now, in case you didn't know, in Photoshop, in your filter gallery, if you're at 16-bit, it doesn't show your filter gallery anymore that I know of. I can't get it unless I go to 8-bit. If I go to 8-bit, I can get the filter gallery. We want to add a watercolor. Just don't worry about that for now. Just, you know, put ones and make it very soft. Say okay. It's going to make it look blah. Edit. We want to reduce that. I usually only put like just a small amount, maybe 15%. Okay. Then there's one more thing. There's one last thing I like to do, and I have these borders that I actually got. Bought them from a magazine one time, but you can make borders. And when I do these watercolor looking things, I like to put a border around it. So I reduce this size here to 16 by 9. So we need to adjust this to roughly maybe 17 by 10 maybe. We'll see how that looks. And then we just take this, drag it over top, like so. Hit screen. And then you have a little border around it. Layer, flatten image, and there you go. Again, not a great image, but it's not too bad. And like I said, sometimes you just have to go out and experiment and play around with stuff and keep practicing. So I wish you well. Until next time, thanks for hanging in there with me. Good luck, and I'll see you soon.